What's up, Carmination? Welcome back to the big PGA Championship edition at Kiowa Island Resort. We have another major on tap. I'm your host, AC, with DFSkarma.com and BetKarma.com. And Sam Sherman's joining me as usual to talk everything golf betting, DFS and DraftKings and FanDuel. Sam, let's get right into it, man. Big week. I mean, we need to learn a little bit about the course. We'll get into pricing. We'll get into game theory. That's how your bets are. We have the bet karma. Where are we starting this week? Talk to me about the course. Tell me what you know.
What I kind of gathered, I mean, I haven't really listened to, I know you do this. Normally, I'm just trying to get better at kind of just not listening to anything before we do our pod because I don't want to have my stuff influenced. But it's obviously just super long. It is going to be most likely windy, I would say. I don't know that, obviously, but because the winds change so often. But I think that the cold bomber, driving distance narrative could be overblown a little bit. So while I think it's an advantage, I think the main thing I'm going to do is not only focus on guys who are these long hitters, because to our chagrin, Brian Harman seems to come top 10 more than we want, and he's like the shortest hitter of all time. So
yeah, watch him win this week.
What?
I said watch him win this week. I'm tired of Brian Harman top 5ing, top 10ing every tournament. Driving me nuts.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because there are some guys definitely. I mean, I got lucky with my fades this past week at Byron Nelson with kind of. There are these shorter hitters that play long course as well. Like Patrick Reed just plays long, hard course as well. I don't know why, but he does, or Fitzpatrick and things like that. But I would say, with how big these greens are, with the expected, I would assume wind just because it's on the ocean and all this stuff. I think unless there's no wind, that something like scrambling around the green, saving par is going to be way more important than I think is typical than people realize for the PGA Championship. And I think that, yeah, there could be a situation where the conditions aren't great or are pristine. And so, I don't know. I mean, I just think that the winning score will be something like -10. And so you kind of need guys who can, make birdies, but also can save par.
So, Brooks Koepka, can we trust him? Just hearing that's who came to my mind. 10 under. That's who came to my mind immediately, and I know he'll be low owned. We'll get to some of these guys, but can we trust him with health?
I mean, here's the thing. Are you betting Brooks at 50-1? Because you probably should.
I probably should. I have not even opened I'm going to do it right after this podcast. I mean, 50-1 seems egregious. Yes, that's an auto bet, even if I'm burning money, to your point. Are you there, Sam? Did we lose you?
A few moments later.
Here's the thing. It'd be so Brooks because I don't like him, for him just to show up hurt. He looks, I don't know if you watched it all last week. I watched a very little bit. I know you're on your golf trip, but he cannot even bend down to pick up the ball. He literally can't move. So the 50-1 is almost insulting with how much he's won majors. I just cannot. I can't play him or bet him.
No, that's a fair assessment. I mean, just you simply getting your eyeballs on the TV last week to see is good, because you're right. I didn't really pay attention to anything last week, but yeah, definitely got to make the bet. Have to make the bet, even if it's a little bit of a lighter bet. Speaking of last week, I know you did well. Real quick, I mean, what's your, elevator speech on that? It looks like you crushed. I saw the final thoughts. You used my arrows that I love to use. You faded all the right fade guys, right? I mean, yeah, dude, in DFS.
I mean, it was classic. I had a good week where I went 5 or 6x, but it just was funny because I had this, rocket lineup with H. Lee, who I put in final thoughts, and I had Wyndham Clark, and I had Charles Schwartz, who I liked, and then who else but Sergio to for some reason shoot 3 over on Friday, and just I don't know what he even did. I didn't watch, but such a loser, dude. I don't know why I even wasted my time. Just so stupid. So yeah, Sergio torched my lineup that had 5 guys in the winner in the top 15. What an ass. But yeah, it was good. I mean, I was fortunate in that I was I literally wrote in final thoughts. If nothing else, I was like, I'm not playing a 25% owned Doug Gambler. Like, I just don't understand how that's the easiest fading I've ever seen. If he burns me, then Doug Gambler.
All right, well, let's get into speaking of that game theory, right? I think, and again, this is an important week. There's some big tournaments out there, big money. I think I might degen in the 4-4-4, make one lineup. But again, like I always talk about myself, I feel like it's helped my game a lot over the years. I'm going to at least try hard. I mean, all these guys are going to be owned. Like, we know this. I mean, this is, again, soft pricing for a major, luring new deposit dollars from random people that don't play DFS as much. But in specific, you'll see advertisements this week, even on ESPN, for example. So, quote unquote, dumb money will come into the market. You can make a really good cash optimal build. Now, while I think that's great and all, I mean, I'm personally going to look for 1 to 2 guys, as always, that are a little bit lower owned. Maybe that comes in the lower price range and we'll get there. But, you know, game theory wise it's a big deal this week, man. So we'll talk about some early fades. I mean, it's Monday. We don't have ownership. Remember to check the website, projections portal, stuff like that will load, as well as our content, final thoughts, core plays throughout the week at dfsparma.com. And the bets will be up soon at betparma.com. All right, up top, Sam, 10K range and above. There's a lot of options, right? So, if you're making one lineup in a big tournament, are you even starting up top with one of these guys? Like, what's your thoughts up top this week?
Okay, it's weird for me because so when we talk about game theory, like the easiest game theory play of all time is Dustin Johnson. He's played like shit recently. He just withdrew even though Chloe wasn't hurt. He just didn't want to play, and so I don't know. He's looked pretty bad. Justin Thomas, I always like anywhere, but even though he's a bad putter, he's looked like really bad recently, like putting himself out of contention bad. So I think I like Rahm the most, and then Spieth is literally number 1 in my entire lineup. So I feel like I have to play Spieth, and he's playing too well for me to avoid him at this point. So I think for me, it's probably going to be Spieth and Rahm, and I'll probably not play Bryson or DJ, to be totally honest.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Spieth is number 2 in my model. I'm looking at it right now. It's just crazy how well he's playing. I was actually looking for holes in his game earlier today, and I can't. The problem is, man, 7,800 is long. I know you mentioned out the gate, out the rip, that it shouldn't be the end-all be-all this week. So I think you have a point there, but I think he's going to be so highly owned. I mean, we'll see what projections come out. I don't know. Like, I haven't made up my mind right now, but early on, again, gut check on Monday, if I am entering this high dollar one lineup, in all formats, essentially my optimal build for the week, I did think about Dustin Johnson. To your point, I'm really curious to see what his ownership is. I think he's going to look bad in all the projections across the industry this week. I'm going to heavily consider him. I think, this isn't a true PGA course, but DJ historically, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, is actually a great PGA specialist as well. That's kind of like a little bonus on top. Obviously, he's long. You get the game theory baked in. He's actually, you think of like courses like Pebble and such, not to say it's nearly the same, but DJ is a great wind player, great seaside course player. I don't know. He's kind of, just flying under the radar. The joke with me and my friends locally here in Cleveland, guys that aren't in the DFS bubble, is the whole, they just are enamored with Brooks, and I'm kind of team DJ. I might just stay on brand. I don't know. But other than that, I might start my lineup below 10K and fade all these guys up top. Rory's great. I'm not playing him. I think he will be owned. I think people are going to outthink things. JT's.
I was going to ask, you're not going to play Rory? He kind of looks, it's setting up. He obviously looks great at Wells Fargo. I like him. Do I think he should be the highest priced and now one of the top owned? No, but
I just think he's too expensive, that's when I was looking at this. I do think, obviously, blah, blah, blah. He's got to win. If he wins, great. I lose. But I do think it's a cool game theory play, too. JT's going to be owned because he deserves to be, as always. Rahm, man, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I got to fade Rahm, and that's kind of sickening.
Oh, God. Really? I feel the opposite.
No, he's definitely setting up his the guy as always. But I'm looking for flaws in some of these guys' game, and the truth is, Jon Rahm is not playing to who he is. But why? I mean, go ahead, tell me. I know he's going to be owned, so it doesn't matter,
Oh no, I mean, yeah, I don't think I'm not like it's not like a sneaky play. Obviously, he'll be super chalk, but like he's under 11,000, which I get it's a stacked field, but like we talked about, like I totally jinxed him when I was like, oh, he hasn't missed a cut forever, then he missed a cut like 2 weeks ago. But like he's playing to like his floor right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
now,
and
I'm considering him. I'm just trying
plus,
to.
I mean, I have like this is gonna totally burn me that I said this. I don't really like Bryson. He's going to be so owned just he gets the ball far.
This guy, I'm with you because you and I are somewhat similar with I'd say 3/4 of our plays generally, like week to week. I knew you weren't going to play Bryson. I'm not playing him. I know he's going to crush with the distance and have wedges in there. I don't know, man. Like he doesn't.
He's lost with his approaches in like 6 straight tournaments or 4 or something.
That exact stat right there is what you and I have talked about for months. And yes, he's going to win. His driver is the most outlandish thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But when he gets the putter hot, like he's going to be impossible to beat. His around the green game generally is meh. And to your point, his approach game is just not that elite. I think you need some of that here. I think distance is key, obviously. But yeah, I'm not playing him. Bottom line. Spieth, I just want to see if he's going to be mega owned. I don't know. I'm like trying to find a way to fade Spieth. I don't know if that's stupid. I can't believe we're at the point.
I am too. I think because he's quote unquote going for the Grand Slam, or not quote unquote, he is on the Grand Slam, and then he's now playing. He's been like the best iron player in the last like 6 months. I get it. It's just one of those things. We're about to get down to it, but like I want to look for a reason to fade him or fade Hovland. I can't.
All right, let's talk about Hovland. I mean, the cheat code. He's one of those guys every single week. I can't even stop playing him. I mean, he's a guy that I don't want to call him a free square, but I don't know. Like when I looked at the pricing, I'm like, I'm playing Victor Hovland. I don't even care what his ownership is. He's the first guy I'll sit and plant the flag.
I want to make one thing clear. Like it's a difference where like last week when I was like, okay, if Doug Gim is 25%, I'm not gonna play him. That's like a low, shittier, like 70 guy. I don't view Hovland like that. I do. Again, if he burns me because he shoots 100, okay, that happens. But like, I have no reason to fade him. 0.
Of course.
Not to mention,
not to harp on it.
Not to mention, the 2 courses he's won on is the type of grass these ones are.
In Puerto Rico, where else has he won?
And then Mayakoba is the only other course that has this type of grass. It's like no green, and he literally course won on that.
In full transparency, yes, I want him to win if I'm playing him, and I love the guy. And I don't even think about win equity half the time when I'm playing DFS golf. I do when I'm thinking about the guys up top, of course. It's like you almost like need to nail one of those guys. But Hovland, I don't care because even if he comes top 10, he's going to be like probably top 3 to 5 always in DK points. And again, in my model, the last 24 rounds, I'm assuming it doesn't even matter to the rounds. He ranks first in DraftKings point scoring. I mean, hello, you need that 30 or better percentage. Number 1, opportunities gained. Number 2, that means he's putting the ball right there. It just needs to make more putts, which he's doing more of. And he actually avoids a ton of bogeys. We know he's long, but I just think he sets up absolutely beautiful here. Starting my lineups with him. I might start with him as my highest priced guy. I haven't really figured that out yet. Let's talk about a guy you and I both get wrong all the time, and we'll probably get wrong this week. Xander Schauffele. I like him, I'll admit it, but I'm probably going to get it wrong. So I don't even know. I honestly can't make up my mind on him right now, but I really want to start my lineup with the X-Man and Victor. I really want to start with that combo. Probably going to be chalky, but I don't think many people are going to skip over all the 10K and above. That's the only rationale I have behind starting a main build with Xander and Victor.
No, it's like if you want to do, we can do this song and dance. Yeah, no one's talking about Xander, and then everyone's like, "Well, this course sets up great for him," and it's like, okay. So what you mean is it sets up well for a person who hits the ball really well. Okay, that would make sense. Yeah, that's right. It does set up well for him. I have no interest in Xander. He'll be 20% owned as always. If you want the leverage spot of the entire week that no one's gonna own, it's Webb Simpson.
What's your thoughts on him? I mean, what was his?
My thoughts on him are okay. So if the course does play so the one thing is, and this is like a nerdy thing that who cares, but like there are like 5 or 6 different tee setups. So it's not like it's going to be 78 50 every single day. Some of it is a little worrisome that Webb cannot overcome because he just hits the ball not that far. But like, I don't think, number one, he quote unquote withdrew a couple weeks ago because I just think he didn't want to play. It's like when DJ puts out his press that he hurt his back and does backflips off his boat the next day. It's like he's not actually hurt. Webb is just like I'm just saying, you have someone like who hits a lot of fairways, but just he's so good around the greens. And if this is not the birdie fest I'm expecting, where we're not going to get like a 20 under, like Aaron Hills type thing, I don't see why. I mean, he's just going to be so. I bet you he's like a fifth as owned as Hawk.
Well, dude, that's part of the reason
That's
why I'm a little bit more on Xander this week. I know his ownership's going to be high, but he's not the elite scorer per se. I mean, I know he can get hot, but I'm telling you, just like you, Sam, I keep notes, right? History repeats itself. I'm freaking sick and tired of not having Xander in my major lineups. It's like I always go back to it and I say, I've just got to freaking play him. I don't care what I'm thinking about.
He's like nowhere near the cut. He'll make like 3 40-foot putts to make the cut of number, and then he'll like make a hole in one on a par 5 and then like chip in 4 times, and he's like near the lead and hits it.
He's a big game hunter.
How is he a big game hunter when he never wins? I don't understand how people call him. Brooks is a big game hunter. You know, I hate him too. He does win.
I'm not the guy that is going to get in any debate on with internally with you guys or freaking local friends or social media on who's winning and who's not. Like, I look at Xander and I say big game hunter because I want guys in top 10. I have the DFS programmed in my brain. The betting thing is different. That's, of course, we get to the bets different. Like, I think about those things different. In Xander is going to make the cut, and he's going to be in the race. He's going to be in the top 20, and by the end of the weekend, he's going to be somehow top 10, top 15. And in my opinion, he's going to pay off the price of 9,600. That's how
he's going to finish like 9. He's going to have gained 18 and a half strokes putting. It's going to be like in 4 days. And then if you want a big game hunter, I mean, why would we not play Patrick?
Yeah, talk about him. I mean, you
said I love Patrick. I'm debating. Like, dude, it's one of those things. He just, for some reason, he's not the biggest. He plays courses that are like tougher and better field than one. He just plays those well. I mean, think about how he won Farmers. I mean, Torrey's a long course. I'm not saying it's the same course, but like because he's so good around the green, it doesn't matter if he is not hitting driver 5-iron like these guys do in the par 4. He'll miss the green, but then he'll get up and down every single time. That's just what he does. And since when he notices that everyone hates him, then he just gets even better. I mean, honestly, he might win this turn.
It's interesting. I'm looking at odds talking right now, just talking about the Xander thing, and I'm definitely putting an outright bet on him after talking about it because I see 22-1 right now. I mean, that's, to me, big game hunter. Those are somewhat longer odds than I thought. I expected the 15 to 16 range. You mentioned, I saw in chat, you said Victor was 18-1. I see him at 25-1. Maybe that's just my book.
DK Sportsbook, he went from 28 to 18 in like an hour.
I mean, that's because they're all tied into our DFS brains, right? Like we said. But yeah, my book, Victor, I'm looking at 25-1. Neither here or there. That's a little bet karma talk. So keep going. You know what? I'm not trying to Patrick Cantlay. You know why? Because I said I'm fucking getting rid of him after the Masters. I don't care if he burns me. He's going to be low owned, and frankly, it's actually probably a really good play this week, game theory wise, because
He's been horrible. Oh yeah, I will not play him because I don't need to. But he has missed 4 cuts in a row. He might be like 2%. He stinks.
All right, keep going. Daniel Bergen's probably going to be popular, right? He's been on a tear. People like you've been on Bergen a long time. I'll give you credit there. I've come around. I haven't really won much money with him. He's been on some nice teams for me, but what are your thoughts? Mega chalk?
I like him a lot. I won't be alone in that sentiment, but it sucks because, it's where he sets up so well for this course. Number one, because he hits it farther than people realize. Number two, he just makes, his putting has gotten like so much better. He used to be like a JT light in terms of putting, like not as bad as JT is at putting, but I think he sets up great and he's probably too cheap. What I can't decide is if I want to play. So, okay. In that range, I obviously will not be playing Tony Finau. I like Zalatoris. He'll be popular. I don't care. You talk about a bad putter, man. He is just, I did not realize how bad whatever it was. But I like
Who's
those
that?
two. I like Cam Smith. Dude, Cam Smith is a big game hunter and churning out top 10s in games. That's what he is. Cam Smith, he's always overpriced too, and so he never is that high on. But I like those. I was going to ask if you are going to play Scotty Scheffler, who I know you like, or Fitz, because I like before I've come around, I've joined your camp. But, like, don't you like him more in these things that are going to be, like, 20 under, 22 under type deal over, like, a 8 to 10? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know enough about him historically, even though we talk about him all the time. Again, that's why anyone that's listening, by the way, shout out to the YouTube people. Right now, go give us the like, the thumbs up, write a comment in there. Appreciate it. But since golf is, like, a year-over-year sport, especially with majors when there's only 4 a year, obviously the jury's not out. Scotty was a part of my PGA team last year when I won that $100,000. So yes, loyalty wise, I do love him. He's been a little kind of hot and cold, kind of all over the place. I think this range right here, if we're compressing this range and we're kind of talking about, I know you just brought up Cam Smith, but I feel like people don't play Cam Smith, but I'll include him. Cam Smith, Willie Z, obviously Berger, Finau, who's been playing really bad, but historically, people like me, we love Finau. Scotty, to your point, Matthew Fitzpatrick. I guess I'll toss in Sanjay because Sanjay just gets owned every week, even on weeks that I don't think he's really this range right here, I think is the first big giant question mark. Of course, the easy route again is Berger, ranks top 10 probably in your model, my model, most models. He finished with a flurry again last week. Historically, I think he's got a low ball flight, if that does matter anything for this win this week, potentially. I'm not even thinking about the win, by the way.
I didn't want to say it. I was going to say that nerdy thing, and I was going to get ripped for saying that he has a low weight.
I don't even want to think about it, but my thoughts are, just quickly on this range, if you want to win money, like I'm trying to figure out this week, like how can I take something down? I do think Berger's probably the play. But I think maybe I do have to take the bullet with somebody else here, like a Finau, Scotty. They're going to be lower owned, don't you think? Like, isn't Berger in Willie? As much as I love Willie, I just don't know if I can trust him here. I don't know. I mean, majors are different. I know he played really well at the Masters, but I don't know, man. There's something maybe it's just a gut suspicion here.
From like a game theory perspective, like if he's going to be 20% owned or something, just making up that number, that's like that is, in terms of constructing a lineup, that's an easy fade, but I also just can't fade him because he's so good. And like everything except being a horrible putter. But that's why I am totally falling to the narrative like a total fish, that these greens are so much easier, not so much, easier to putt on than normal. There's no grain. So like the shitty putters like him and Finau and maybe JT hopefully can like not suck as much ass, but I don't really know because Willie Z seems to lose strokes putting everywhere. I've like never, I mean, it's crazy.
Well, like we talk about though, I don't really think about putting much of ever in my models and thinking, but the thing that I like about Willie is obviously he crushes the ball. We know this driving distance wise, but I took a look at those par threes, and since it's hashtag major week, I was really diving in, Sam. I was doing some extra research this week.
The 2025 game, yeah, hell yeah.
Those par threes, which this is nitpicking, there's nothing easy on this course. Those par threes are so long, and they fit the build of a guy like a Willie Z, who annihilates long iron game play. Like he's actually exceptional at it. He's a typical young guy who is so good. Like you can see in the weakness right now in Willie's game is wedge play. So, those typical wedge courses, Willie will struggle at. And I think he does, to your point, set up better than we think. The more I'm thinking about it, talking about it, he's actually not getting any love in the betting markets, which relative to DraftKings pricing, I don't like seeing that because somebody in Vegas is smarter than me. That doesn't always mean anything, but just something I'm looking at because you would just assume that he might get compressed into pressed ownership.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. This happens all with majors, I feel like always, where because you have these like lightning rod of ownership, like Hovland is going to be 30%. And then you have all these other guys like that. There's just like no way. I mean, I don't play him, but like Fleetwood just will not be. Justin Rose, since he will not be owned despite that Masters thing. I will probably play Louis because I hate winning money, but no one's going to own Louis. And then
then you have chalk Abraham Answer, who I like also. But again, like any of these guys around him, like you have to just think about it in terms. That's why I try to tell people in Discord. It's like comparing their top 20 odds or top 5 odds, which we post on Karma every week. It's like they all have equals, chance of finishing top 10, top 20. But if someone's going to be a third less owned, that's like always the play. And then
there's to your point on a couple of those guys, game theory wise, like there's good chalk, there's bad chalk. I feel like Abraham Answer is entering the good chalk category. I hate saying that for a guy at that price tag, but dude, this guy's just mega hot. Like all he does is send every week. I know he doesn't have the distance. I like him a lot. Like I was interested to see pricing. He was like somebody that came to mind right away that just keeps creeping up on the leaderboard every damn week. He's going to make the cut. I feel like it's just like a lock. I don't know. I feel like you got to play him. To your point, like I feel like for me, I already know what I'm going to end up doing. Burgers, probably still the play. I got to somehow potentially pivot in that range if I do start my lineup with like a, Xander freaking Hovland, because it's already chalk. If I have Answer in my lineup, that's 3 chalk guys. Like I got to get a little bit different. Yes, I'm loyal to Scotty and Tony. I keep going back to those guys. Even Tommy Fleetwood's there, man. Like, is anybody going to play Tommy this week? He kind of started showing some signs of life, by the way. I mean, what are your thoughts on him, Rose, Lou? I mean, you mentioned Louis. I mean, anybody else? Like Adam Scott.
So many guys suck already. I can't possibly play Fleetwood also suck. There's no room in my lineups for other shitty guys because I'm already playing garbage. Like I'm rostering Cam Smith as if he's gonna win. That's insane. So like for me to do that and then play Fleetwood is just irresponsible. So yeah, I think
this is a tournament for Tommy. Lower score. I mean,
I can't rip you as much as I say this for people too. Like, how long have we been saying this course fits Tommy and he just?
I didn't say that. I said that I like him at events where you don't have to score as much. Actually, I don't know. He kind of comes. It's all around.
If we had a consistent win forecast of gusts all week, I'd be like, okay, Tommy is now gotten a little more interesting, and Lowry and whoever. But I don't know. I mean, do you think Fleetwood? He makes so many big numbers. That's my only problem with
him. Bottom line is, I gotta get leverage this week, and I'll let the people in Discord, if you're a subscriber, I'm gonna let people know later in the week. I'm taking a couple chances. I want to win something this week. I don't want to just play all the same guys. If you want to play cash lineup, of course, make a damn good cash lineup. But yes, I got to get a little weird because I want to try and win something big. All right, let's keep going. 7K range. There's always Paul Casey's just always 7K.
Why do they do this to Paul? I was about to ask, why do they do this every time? Because then we can all play Paul Casey and he shoots 80 and then he's out of the tournament.
Another guy. I feel like it's like good chalk. I hate saying it, but I don't really want to. I don't want to play all the same guys. But he's a good play this week. I mean, I don't care what I mean.
Is Corey Connors. I'm playing Corey Connors.
Yeah, I love Corey Connors too. I mean, I'm assuming he'll be owned, but I think Casey's a better Corey Connors.
I hope he doesn't gain traction. I do like Gary Woodland. How this sets up.
I don't mind it. Casey's a lock, by the way, I feel like. I mean, I just feel like you got to play Casey. He's so good with his long irons, not to harp on him. Remember, par threes, I'm really thinking about that. I feel like all these guys are pros, right? They're all going to chop up the par fives. They're all going to score them at times. I do think a key swing this week is those long par threes. Like, dude, look at Paul Casey's stats from 175 to 200 plus. I mean, he's probably one of the best players in the entire field. So you got to figure if he's got the edge on those long par threes alone, he'll dice up the par fives. Like Paul Casey's going to make the cut and be fine. Top 25.
So I think I agree that's important. We didn't really go a lot of those other key stats. I think honestly, when you look at the scorecard, I mean, I think there's eight of the par fours are 450 plus, nearing towards 500, and it's like that range you're talking about. But I think someone like Gary, it's that stinger. I mean, Casey's good at it, and that's what. If Sergio wasn't the worst, he has a good long iron player too. He's just so bad on the green. But I don't know, dude. I wish I had the time to go back and do a study of Paul Casey when he's over 15% owned, how often he returns value. It's probably 0% of the time. There's no map to it. What?
Jason Day's down here.
No, play Jason Day.
3% owned type play that I would definitely take a look at this week.
How come every other week I play Jason Day 3% owned, you give me shit for it, but now you're Jason Day long. He stinks. He's so lost at just everything right now.
In my opinion, the Doug Gim play of the week is so easy. It's Sam Burns. It's not even close. Like, that's the Doug Gim play of the week. Good luck, everyone, tailing that guy this week. Yes, he's on a score.
He's been playing so well, but I totally agree. If he's going to be 20% on,
don't even make the cut. Take it to the bank, dude. Like, this is golf 101. We've seen this movie, as we say before. I am not playing a 20% on Sam Burns this week.
Well, you know what sucks is that we, okay, so I saw a stat. It's like, he's had like 5 36-hole leads. I was glad. I do like Sam Burns. I was glad he won at Valspar, but like on Sunday, this past Sunday, he showed what he kind of does a lot. Everyone's out there making birdies, and he was like 1 over on the front 9. Everyone else like 9.
Yeah.
I don't know if he does that. So it sucks because he's been playing so well, and I like him. He's going to rate out well for everyone, but I agree.
You know that. All these guys, they only stay hot for so long, and he's on a mega heater, dude. I mean, he's at blackjack like 4 times. Don't play Sam Burns this week, trust me.
I mean, who I will be playing $100 less is I will be playing Matt Wallace. I don't care. I
do like your Gary Woodland call. I mean, if he's going to be really low owned, I mean, I actually really like that call as a pivot off Sam Burns, especially in MME stuff. Matt Wallace, yeah.
I'm going to sell you fully here. You want me to sell you fully? You know how you love interviews?
Yes, I do love him, always.
So after he missed the cut, I think it was at Valspar or something. He's like, I love this course. I like playing it. And like, it was the worst round of golf. It was pathetic when he missed the cut. And he's like, I had to make some changes. And he said, that's when he was like in the final. He was like towards the top of the leaderboard with Rory at the Wells Fargo.
Who's that?
That's Gary.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, he did. Like I said, you can't look at the stats, but you're right. He did pop. Yeah, you're right.
Positive vibe. I mean, before his slump, his like off the tee game was his bread and butter. It's like him.
Hasn't Gary? So, or am I misquoting that?
No, dude, are you kidding me? No, he won the U.S. Open beating Brooks. It was electric.
That's an interesting pivot in this range, especially for you Sam Burns chalk guys. Brian Hart.
You know what could happen? This could be an absolute what's it like when everything comes together? If Keegan Bradley is going to chalk at this price because he finished 3rd here in 2012, that might be the easiest fade of all time.
I thought about that too.
I know because I like Keegan. I do like Keegan, but like if he's going to be like Sam Burns type ownership, that's like the easiest cross on.
If there's any Keegan truther, it's me. And yes, I want to play him. Yes, he checks all the boxes. Yes, he has some courses. Yes, he's on fire. But if there's one thing I've learned about Keegan Bradley, I am not playing him when he's chalk at a major when I have money on the line. I'm not playing him. I'll play Charlie Hoffman, who will probably be half the ownership. And frankly, Charlie's been on fire. And if I'm not mistaken,
I like the Hoffman call. He's been playing
good with his long irons too, man. Like he just hasn't been. We've been talking about him most of the year. I mean, he's been serviceable. I don't think he's been getting a lot of run.
He's one of those guys that won't get played because he doesn't hit the ball that far. Like I'm saying, people cross him off like, yeah, he has an average 330 up there.
He hits it farther than you think. Go look it up.
No, so does Stuart Simpson.
And you know what? The fact that I just brought this up right now, this is why I like this. I'm looking up his long iron game because besides the par 3s, there is a lot of longer par 4s, obviously, as well. I just think these guys are going to be hitting longer irons relative than like 90% of the weeks, obviously, on tour. Charlie Hoffman historically is a terrible wedge player. I mean, that's known. That's just a fact. I like him this week, man. The more I'm looking at him, I mean, I think Charlie is definitely an amazing pivot leverage-wise over Keegan, who's going to be a lot more popular.
I am openly saying it's a bad play, but I am playing Grillo at 7,000.
No, I'll listen to that. I mean, I definitely want to play him at all in my main lineup. I already know where you're going with it, but just tell me because I like it.
Grillo?
Yeah.
You talking about like with Grillo? Yeah, because it's the whole thing I'm buying into about the fact that he is a terrible putter, that these greens are easier, and if I think the name of the game is like, I mean, I am going to kind of go to the more, I know we all we talk about is like strokes gained and advanced stats and everything, but like going back to straight greens and regulation, I mean, that's what you want is these guys are hitting all these greens with these kind of long recovery conditions, but well, presumed recovery conditions. So that's all Grillo does. Yeah, he's going to miss every putt, but I saw a quote from Adam Scott saying about this course 2012. He's like, if the guy who comes out here and hits the most greens should absolutely be in the top 10 of things because they're not having to scramble all the time. Now, when Grillo starts missing every green, that'll be a problem. But assuming he doesn't miss every green, I like him. Are you playing Ricky Fowler, the special invitee, Ricky Fowler?
Whoa, what's his price tag? I didn't even see him in here.
Ricky is 7,000. He got a special invite.
That's
qualified.
I'm glad he got the special invite. I mean, no,
I'm not. You would not play him.
I'm not playing him. I don't think I've ever really played
Ricky.
He was like a thing.
Really?
Yeah, I was
a Ricky fan. Yeah.
Who else down here? Ryan Palmer's guy always gets owned. I mean, 6,900. I can tell you right now, Ryan Palmer will be owned at least 10%. That's probably fadeable in most builds. I mean, Stuart Sink, I actually like him. I mean, Stuart Sink, is he going to be owned? I mean, he's been on fire. This guy's so old. This is his swan song. Never going to have a better season ever? No, he's not. At this age.
Talking about running hot. Like, are we going to really say Sam Burns is running hot and it's running out? We're going to say Stuart Sink is going to keep up with this hot
Look at Stuart Sink's stats. It's actually, it's seriously
stop.
It's he's driving the ball farther than he ever has as well. I mean, again, I'm looking for leverage, and I think Ryan Palmer is going to be owned. Stuart Sink is going to be half his own. That's my play right there.
The guys on here I like, the 3 Euros I like are Dean Burmester. He's really good. You look at his form right now on the Euro Tour. Victor Perez I like. No one ever plays him, but he's really good. And then Thomas Detry. I was reading the one article I have read is this guy who's talking on the Euro side of things. He was saying that on the Euro Tour they play these kinds of greens all the time, and Thomas Detry just slays on those types of greens. So I like him. I thought Thomas Peters was an easy fade last week. For some reason he was chalk, but I will absolutely play him this week at like a third of the ownership at now under 7,000. And then, dude, Brendan Steele, 6,500. Like, you're just begging me to play him.
I'm not playing that guy. Hey, how come how come either you or I neglected to bring over Kokrak? Is he not going to be really like owned this week? Because I would go there.
I don't want anyone else to play him besides me. That's the problem. I love Kokrak. I play him every tournament.
I feel like he might be getting glossed over this week just for a bunch of the other names that we already brought up.
I agree.
I mean, he's having one hell of a season. This is a guy with great long iron game. Obviously, drives the ball well, and he's playing just unbelievable this year. I know the Masters wasn't the finish he wanted, and I think maybe that might be planted in the back of the minds of a lot of people. Like, kind of like Patrick Cantlay. Speaking of the devil, Kokrak was majorly high owned, and he finished freaking 49th at the Masters. I think that's in the back of people's minds. Other than that, I mean, 9th place at Mexico, 8th at Arnold Palmer, 8th at the Players, 13th at Valspar. This is the kind of guy that we want here this week.
I can assume you'll be playing some Brendan Todd. God, could there be a worse course setup for Brendan Todd?
No, but he's honestly I gotta give him credit. Like, the guy is a freaking grinder, and he will, at some point, I will smirk looking at the leaderboard to myself on my own, because I will see him in the top 30, and it's like, obviously nothing will come of anything, but he's a grinder. I mean, he'll be there at one point in time on the leaderboard, then he'll fall back. So
if you don't play 6,800, this is the last guy. If you don't play 6,800 Molinari, then you're a fraud.
No, I am not going to that well at all. All right, who is your mid-tier? Go ahead. Anyone else?
No, I'm ready to give our last takes.
That's a great podcast, actually. I actually feel like I learned a lot. So let's talk about our mid-tier type bet. I will go to you first.
100 to 1.
You're breaking up there. Say that again.
Gary Woodland, 100 to 1.
Man, he's at 75 to 1 in my book. It's almost like you're on to something. or DraftKings is just that stupid. I cannot wait till they're legal in Ohio, by the way. I cannot believe Patrick Cantlay. I mean, I guess, wow, I can't believe he's 40-1. I mean, it's crazy.
Cantlay 40-1. Wow, I did not even see that.
Wow. How fast they fall. So I guess my mid-tier bet. I can't do that. What is the borderline here? What does this got to be at?
I'd say do over 50 because a lot of those guys like are at 50. Like Answer on at least on DK is like 50.
I got a guy only because I brought him up on the podcast, and like I'm telling you, dude, like one of these years he's just gonna win something. He's always been in the hunt. He's had a bad last 9 months. I did bring him up on the podcast. He's showing a heartbeat. I'm not saying he's back at all. He's not having a good year. Like I said, Tommy Fleetwood is 60-1. Why not? Like the score is going to be 10 under. He's got enough distance. He's very accurate when his irons are on, dude. I mean, Tommy Fleetwood, why not? I will put that bet in.
I will not.
Nobody's going to have him as a bet in the industry. You know that.
$0.
You know nobody's going to have him as a bet.
I know. That's true.
All right. That does it. Good luck this week, guys.
That's great.
Fun times. Hop on over to dfskarma.com. There's a ton of free stuff. A lot of new things, especially for golf, coming soon to betkarma.com. But you can talk to us in Discord chat. It's under the subscriber button at dfskarma.com. You can tail our core plays. I'm going to play that $4,000 tournament. I'm literally going to give the same exact core play that I'm going to play in there. So for like $10, you can tail what I'm going to play for like $7,000. Seems like a deal to me, Sam. I don't know. That does it. Good luck this week, guys, and we'll talk to you next week.